Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started now that we've got all our registrants in. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Financial Aid Information Session. My name is Adrienne Garcia-Specht. My pronouns are she, hers, and I am a financial aid counselor, and I'll be presenting some information to you. But first, I would like my colleagues in financial aid to introduce themselves as well.
Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Delphina Medina. I will be joining you today answering your questions. Nice to have you here.
Hi, my name is Heather, financial aid counselor. I'm also here answering questions.
Yeah, so throughout the presentation, we're going to be going over a lot of information, but as questions come up, feel free to use the Q&A box. It should be on the bottom of your Zoom. It says Q&A to answer or to ask questions, and Delphina and Heather will be answering them as we go. And then at the end of the presentation, we'll also have an opportunity to ask questions aloud. So let's go ahead and get started. 1 second while I situate myself here. All right, so on behalf of our financial aid team, I'd like to congratulate you on your acceptance to Cal Poly. I know this is a really exciting time for families, and I'm so happy you could join us today. We are recording the session, so if for any reason you need to pop out, it will be available online later. We'll be reviewing some financial aid basics. Please use that Q&A box at the bottom of the Zoom to ask questions as we go. And several financial aid counselors, as you saw, are on staff ready to respond, and we'll address questions live at the end of the presentation, as I said. We'll be covering the following items during our time together today: how we award financial aid, where to find your financial aid in the Cal Poly portal, some tips and next steps for you. In addition to the Q&A box, we'll make sure to get to all the really popular questions at the end. And in addition to this presentation, we are also doing drop-in hours. So if you have a more personal, very specific question related to financial aid, you might want to stop into our drop-in hours. The Zoom number is on the screen now, but it's also available on the virtual open house website. You'll see it pop at the 3 p.m. hour. You'll see it listed there. Hopefully we get all your questions answered here, but just in case you'd like to meet with a counselor and have a very specific question, you can do so there. Great. And so let's get started. We determine your financial aid based on the EFC, which is the expected family contribution number that comes from your FAFSA or California Dream Act application. This is a financial aid application that you'll be renewing each year between October 1st and March 2nd. If you have not yet applied, you can still submit your application, although some financial aid options may be limited. You'll hear me talk about this EFC, this expected family contribution number, and let's just talk about what that is. It's an index number that colleges use to determine how much financial aid a student is eligible to receive. It is not what you are being charged, and it's not what you're going to pay for school. There are several factors taken into consideration to determine a student's EFC, such as family income, household size, the number of people in college, and assets. Another term you may hear a lot while thinking about college is the cost of attendance. So what the cost of attendance is, it is the estimated cost of attending an institution, the price for tuition, meals and housing, books and supplies, transportation, and miscellaneous expenses. You can see here on the screen the cost of attendance for Cal Poly undergraduates. This information is also available on our website. It's a little dynamic page, so you can go out there and check it out as well, especially if you're a graduate student, since we did not include that information here. To determine your financial aid, we need to first determine your need for financial aid purposes. And to get this financial need, we actually have this financial aid formula we use where we take the cost of attendance, so the number you saw on the previous screen for our institution, and subtract the expected family contribution number from the FAFSA or California Dream Act application. And that gives us financial need. This financial need helps us determine what type of aid you may be eligible for. And when I say aid, I mean a whole host of things. Aid can include scholarships, which are awarded based on factors such as academic achievement, talent, athletic ability, field of study, financial need. Just so you know, all newly accepted students at Cal Poly are automatically considered for scholarships. There was no application necessary. Scholarships are a type of aid that do not need to be repaid. Similarly, grants are types of aid that are given to students who demonstrate financial need and don't need to be repaid. This includes a Pell Grant, which is a federal grant, a Cal Grant, a Chafee Grant, and several other grants that you might see on your financial aid package. Another type of aid is loans. You can borrow funds in the form of loans to help pay for your educational expenses. Every financial aid package at Cal Poly will include some type of loan option. So that includes subsidized or unsubsidized student loans, a Parent Plus loan, and private loans are an option too. So these are sort of the broader categories of aid is sort of, broad categories for financial aid is need-based aid and non-need-based aid. So that means that you have to have some kind of financial need based on that formula I showed you earlier to qualify for some of these need-based grants, scholarships, and loans. And so your financial aid package is going to potentially include a host of different types of aid. I mentioned loans. Which, as I said, all the financial aid packages will potentially include a type of loan for you. A subsidized student loan is a loan taken out in the student's name. Interest on the loan is paid for by the federal government while you are in school enrolled at least half time. An unsubsidized loan is also a loan in the student's name, but the student is responsible for the interest accruing on the loan. Both loans do not begin repayment until 6 months after you graduate. Currently, the interest rate is 2.75% for subsidized and unsubsidized loans for this academic year. The interest rate will change for next year, and you'll know in the summer before school starts. In addition, a first-year student is eligible for $3,500 in subsidized loans if they have sufficient financial need, and $2,000 in unsubsidized loan for a total of $5,500 in the direct student loans for the year. Another loan option that may be on your financial aid package if you're a dependent student is the Parent Plus loan. So this loan is a federal loan borrowed by a parent. A parent must apply for the loan at studentaid.gov after June 1st. If a parent is denied the loan or if a parent is ineligible to even apply for the loan, a student may be offered an additional unsubsidized loan of $4,000. The interest rate is currently 5.3% for the Parent Plus loan, but that is subject to change for next year's loan. Students can also consider applying for a private educational loan. Typically, the students are these loans are in the student's name with a parent or a supporter as a co-signer. On our website, on our financial aid website, so financialaid.calpoly.edu, we have a tool that helps you search for private loans, and it's a loan comparison tool that's actually really helpful. We receive a lot of questions about scholarships. As I said earlier, no application was necessary for Cal Poly scholarships. All incoming students are automatically considered for merit-based scholarships, and scholarships have been already posted for the 2021-2022 academic year. Some students may have scholarships they are bringing with them from outside sources. Once you've committed to Cal Poly, you can let us know about these scholarships by filling out the outside scholarship form located on our website. And then we can list your scholarship on your financial aid package. That way you can see the total amount of aid you have with those scholarships. You'll also find resources and tips for researching outside scholarships on our website. So let's talk about some next steps you might be taking right now. If you haven't already, you should view your financial aid in the portal. Students can get to their financial aid a couple different ways. It's listed under the Money Matters tab in the Student Aid portal, and then under View My Financial Aid. You can see the screenshot on the right there for viewing the financial aid, accepting and declining awards, and viewing to-do lists. Side note, if you haven't already checked out the YouTube for the admissions office at Cal Poly, you definitely should. It's Cal Poly Admissions on YouTube. There's a lot of helpful videos, including a few videos from financial aid that walk you through viewing your financial aid award. It's super helpful. So I definitely recommend checking out the Cal Poly Admissions Office on YouTube. So when you're in the portal, you're clicking on your Money Matters tab, you're clicking View My Financial Aid. You also might be accessing the Student Center at some point to view the financial aid. It's kind of similar. But after you click View My Financial Aid, you're going to click on 2022. That's the academic year we're in. And then you will, then it'll show you, I'm going to skip ahead, it'll show you your financial aid award. And you can also print a PDF of your award letter or view a PDF of your award letter here as well under the print award letter. So once you're in and viewing your financial aid, you're going to be able to see this kind of block of information for you. And then you can click print award letter to see it come out in a PDF. And also that print award letter is where you're going to see the conditions for some of the scholarships if you were offered scholarships, or any information about the grants or loans that you were offered. So I definitely recommend finding all these buttons that I'm showing you here so that you get a full picture of what your financial aid is and all the information you need. Please note, if you don't see your Cal Grant on your financial aid package and you were expecting one, make sure you create a Web Grants for Students account and select Cal Poly as your top school. That way that information gets sent to us. Some students may see a state university grant on their financial aid package and they were also awarded a Cal Grant. Please keep in mind that if you were awarded a Cal Grant A, that's going to be replacing that state university grant. So you do want to make sure that you select Cal Poly as your school out at Web Grants for Students so that we have all the information we need to show you your accurate financial aid package. And on your award, you will need to accept loans or scholarships. Grant aid is automatically accepted on your behalf. We assume that you want the money you don't need to repay. So on that View My Financial Aid page, when you're scrolling down, you will be able to see your financial aid, not just for the broken down by year, but also broken down by term. So for example, on the screen right now, I have what it'll look like for fall quarter. And that shows you the grant amounts and the loan amounts for fall quarter. And when you click View Scheduled Disbursement Dates, it's actually super helpful, especially if you're borrowing any of the loans, because it'll show you the net amount of aid that will apply to your fall charges. And so this is sort of an important number to know whether you have sufficient financial aid to cover tuition, to cover housing, to cover dining, or whether you can anticipate making monthly payments for housing and dining, housing or dining. Oops. Oh yeah, just talked about that. You have to accept your scholarships. Make sure to do that. We do want you to look at that print award letter section so that you can see the terms of the scholarships. You might have to maintain a certain GPA or take a certain amount of units for a scholarship to be renewable. So if you were offered scholarships, make sure you review that information. And then you can accept and decline awards right in the portal there. And if you are interested in borrowing student loans, but maybe not the maximum amount that was offered, you can adjust the amount that you borrow. So back to the section you're looking at when you're viewing your financial aid, there's this really great resource on here in this peach orangey looking box called the College Financing Plan. So the College Financing Plan is actually something that's provided to you by all institutions that you were accepted to. When you click on that, what you're going to see is another page that shows you a bunch of really useful information. So you're going to see on one page the cost of attendance for Cal Poly, and then a breakdown of your financial aid offers. So that means it's going to split out your scholarship offers if you had any, your grants if you were offered any, and then show you the net cost, or what I like to call the out-of-pocket cost for Cal Poly based on your cost of attendance and your financial aid package. We split the slide, the pictures of the slide to kind of show you a zoomed in, but this is all on one page. It's a really helpful tool. When you scroll down from the net cost, you're also going to see the loan options to help you meet that net cost. So the student loans, the parent loan will all be on there. If you were offered work study, that'll be on there. And that's going to really help you compare, especially from different institutions, apples to apples, but also help you plan and budget for your upcoming academic year. So again, this is the College Financing Plan. I'm going to scroll back just so you can see it. And when you're on the page that shows you your award summary, it'll be a button, an orange button on there called the College Financing Plan. So we're going back to this Student Center screen. So in the Student Center, you're going to see here on the left-hand side a button that says Authorize to Release. This is in case a student wants to give access to their information to a parent or supporter. Student records are private and protected under a federal law called the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, or FERPA. Without explicit consent from the student, Cal Poly staff cannot share information or conduct financial transactions directly with anyone but the student. You can allow access to financial aid information by clicking that Authorize to Release button, putting in a person's name, and creating a special PIN for this parent or supporter that you would like to have access to your information for financial aid. So for example, if a parent or supporter is going to be calling financial aid to talk about, and they have some specific questions, and maybe you're not going to be on the phone with them, they're going to need this authorization for us to be able to talk about specifics about your financial aid package and the charges on your account. So still here on this Student Center page, I want to bring your attention to this to-do list section. And again, you can view the to-do list directly from the Money Matters tab. There's a to-do list button on there as well. But when you're in the Student Center, it's here on the right-hand side. Some applicants are selected for verification, which means we have to review your financial aid application for accuracy. We may ask to see certain documents like a 2019 tax return or have you fill out forms. You can see this student has several items requested. When you click the blue More button, it'll open up a different page, and this screen will give you more information about the documents that are being requested. So you just want to keep clicking on the blue links. Our forms are electronic for the most part, so you'll be able to electronically fill out these forms and send them to the financial aid office, or electronically provide your tax information to us. So again, blue text is clickable. You'll also see that the status is listed as initiated. Here, that means that we've initiated a request. And once you actually provide the documentation to us, we will, it'll disappear from your to-do list. And you want to make sure to complete these items as soon as possible, since it might impact your financial aid package. And we need to complete the review before the start of fall quarter. So if you see items on your to-do list, make sure to get those done quickly. Also, you'll see that other departments are asking for documents from this particular student, so you want to make sure to complete those items on there. In addition, sorry, going back. The to-do list is also one of the primary ways the financial aid office communicates with the student. Sometimes the to-do list items, other than being most often something you have to do, sometimes they are informational. So we might have something we're trying to tell you. So just look at your to-do list item fairly regularly. I know the Office of Student Accounts likes to talk about Money Mondays, and that's when they advise students to kind of check out their financial aid, check out their student account, see if there's any balances, to sort of review that information. I know many families are facing economic adversity at this time, and a financial situation that may be significantly different than what was reported on the financial aid application. We encourage families who have experienced a loss of income to submit a change of income form, which will be available on our website after June 15th. For now, families will need to plan for the financial aid currently offered on their financial aid package, but we will review all submitted forms for any changes of income. In addition, there may be not necessarily a change of income, but maybe special circumstances such as a family who has high medical expenses that aren't really accounted for in their tax information. Perhaps there's been a death of a student's parent, or a parent is enrolled at least half-time in college seeking their own degree. These are all circumstances that aren't automatically represented on the FAFSA or California Dream Act application. So we want to make sure that if that's the case, that you seek out this form on our website and let us know about these situations, and we will review and make any adjustments if it results in additional aid eligibility. I have some helpful links for you. In addition to our Cal Poly financial aid website, which has all our forms, a lot of the information I shared right now, in addition to just general financial aid information for students, loan information for students, you definitely want to check that out and explore that website. The Office of Student Accounts is actually the office that is charging you for tuition and housing and dining and any miscellaneous fees you accrue. And they have really great informational videos on their website about how do I make a payment? Like how do I pay for tuition? How do I pay for housing? So I would definitely recommend you visit Student Accounts and their website. In addition to admissions, you also may be out at studentaid.gov, either because you're applying for a Parent Plus loan, or perhaps you're, as a student, you are interested in borrowing and need to complete your student loan counseling. That's all done at studentaid.gov. And then the web grants for students is for the California Student Aid Commission. And if you received a Cal Grant, this is the website you're going to go to and create an account on to notify them that you are attending Cal Poly and you'd like your Cal Grant information sent to Cal Poly if we don't already have it. Also, we get a lot of questions that are more specific for housing or dining, and here's the information, or student accounts, and here's the information, their contact information, in case you're wondering anything more specific about that. We want to send you to the experts, especially anything about refunds or 529 plans. You want to talk to student accounts about that. They have a lot of great information on their website and video guides, but they are also very responsive to emails. And here's our contact information. So in addition to the drop-in hours that we're having today, right after the session, and actually we'll as soon as the session's over, you can actually go even if it's before 3. But from till 5 o'clock, we'll have drop-in hours. But then here's our contact information. We are available by phone, and then we have virtual counseling appointments with any of our financial aid counselors. And you'll just email financialaid@calpoly.edu with your questions, and then if appropriate, we'll make an appointment with a financial aid counselor. But again, visit the virtual open house page for links to the drop-in hour Zoom drop-in hours. Okay, so I was in a mode of like giving the presentation, and so I didn't see any questions. Are there any questions we'd like to answer or ask now live for me to answer, or if anything came up that I should maybe go over one more time? Also, I do think I don't know if the chat's still open, but if it's not, if it is, you could use that too. So either financial aid made a lot of sense, or everyone responding to the Q&As was really thorough. One of the things that comes up a lot when I meet with families is sort of like, well, I don't know if I'm going to need student loans. I'm still kind of figuring out. We're still looking at our budget. We have some aid, we have some grants available, and I don't know how much exactly we're going to need. And so just so you know, the charges for housing will come out in August, and so then you'll have more of a firm number of what housing and dining is going to cost, and we know what tuition is going to cost. And so your student loans and the parent loan are available all year. So if you perhaps don't want to make that decision in summer or so early like now, you have all year to think about that. And it could be that you're able to make some payments for housing and dining, in fall quarter, and then need to borrow your student loan in winter or spring. And that's an option too. Your loans will be available to you all year while you're enrolled. So that comes up a lot. So the student, I'm going to answer that question live. So we had a question about if the parent is not in a financial position to borrow the Parent Plus loan, can there be a student loan that kind of replaces the amount? And so the student federal loans, the $5,500, are a federal limit that's set by the Department of Education. If a parent applies for a Parent Plus loan and is denied, that opens up an additional $4,000 in student loans for a student. But it doesn't fill that whole gap that Parent Plus loan might be taking up. Sometimes the Parent Plus loans are, $10,000, $20,000 offered on there, up to the cost of attendance. And so it would not totally replace the Parent Plus loan, but an additional unsubsidized loan of $4,000 may be an option if a parent's denied for the Parent Plus loan, but they do have to have an actual denial. In addition, we sometimes encourage students to explore their private loan options. If a student is able to borrow a loan with a supporter or parent cosigner, that puts the responsibility onto the student, and the loan is in the student's name, and that could be used in lieu of the Parent Plus loan. We don't yet have the interest rates for Parent Plus loans for next academic year for 21-22. This year, the interest rate was 5.3%, but they change, and we usually find out in May. The Department of Education lets us know sometime in May what the interest rates will be for next year. Great questions. That doesn't conclude our programming. It was a pretty quick presentation, but I want to make myself available for other questions. And again, if you would like to meet and talk one-on-one with the counselor, we're going to direct you to our drop-in hours where we're having families meet with counselors one-on-one. I'll take a last call for questions. Yes, it's being recorded, and I believe it'll be up on the virtual open house website once they put it up. So if you're searching for outside scholarships, you can check out our financial aid website, our Cal Poly financial aid website, to see under outside scholarships and then outside scholarships. We have links to several trusted databases for students to apply to scholarships with. We also have some tips, but the main tip is make sure you're not paying for a scholarship application. You should never have to pay to apply for a scholarship. That's one signal that it might not be legitimate, but definitely check out our Cal Poly financial aid website in the scholarship section, outside scholarships, for a bunch of trusted databases that'll direct a student in the appropriate directions. And then Delphina did drop into the chat our outside scholarships link. Okay, so if you wanted to catch this presentation again, it'll be available on the virtual open house website. The recording will be available. There is a treasure trove of information at the YouTube for Cal Poly admissions, including financial aid information. So I definitely recommend you check out the Cal Poly admissions YouTube. In addition to visiting our website or emailing us at financialaid@calpoly.edu. And if you go back to the virtual open house website, you can definitely click the link for drop-in hours, which would be available now if you wanted to chat with us. Thank you so much. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and then wish everyone a great day and welcome to Cal Poly, and we hope to see you in the fall. Bye.
Have a good day, everyone.